So in the previous section, we talked in detail about your kitchen cabinet catalog, right? So now using that, we should be able to precisely design this kitchen space. Okay. So before starting with this, let me just first explain how am I going to design this entire kitchen. So for this demonstration, it's going to be a simple L-shaped kitchen where I'm going to have one bay on this wall, another bay on this wall. And this is the corner part of my kitchen. So this is where the corner cabinet is going to be. And for this demonstration, let me use a blind corner accessory cabinet so that I can even show you how we can change the blind corner accessory later. And I'm planning to place my stove on this wall, so the hob cabinet need to be placed here. I'm planning to place my sink on this wall, so the sink cabinet will be placed here. And right next to the sink and the hob, I'm planning to place a narrow pull-out cabinet. And there might be a 3-drawer cabinet on this side, and there might also be another 2-drawer cabinet adjacent to the blind corner cabinet. And right next to the pull-out cabinet, I'm planning to place an appliance-based tall cabinet, which also going to act as an end cabinet for this open kitchen. In addition to that, I'll be placing the wall units only on this wall. Okay, since there is a window on this wall, I don't want to disturb with any wall cabinets. And on top of that wall cabinet, the loft cabinet will also be placed in. And on top of this end cabinet also, there will be another loft cabinet. So this is how I'm going to design this kitchen. And once that is decided in, we could precisely start with your kitchen modeling. So while starting with the modeling, it is always recommended to start with your base cabinet. So first try to place your base cabinets in your kitchen, followed by that could be your tall cabinet. Once these two are completed, then you can proceed with your wall cabinet and finish it off with the loft cabinet. Okay. So that way, first I'm gonna place my base cabinet here. So I can just click on this base cabinet category and this will show you different types of base cabinet. Okay. And in this base cabinet also, it is always better to first place your corner cabinet. Since it's an L-shaped kitchen, I have one single corner. If it's like an U-shaped kitchen, you will have two corners. Okay, so in those cases, first try to place your corner cabinets first. And once that is done, then you can use your other cabinets to fill up that gap. Okay, so in this case, like I said, first I'm going to place the corner cabinet. So I'm going to select this corner cabinet category under base cabinet. And here I have different types of corner cabinet. I'm going to select blind corner, which will open up different types of blind corner for your base cabinets. In this, like I said, I'm going to precisely go for your blind corner accessory, which is this two. In this you will see LNR, right? And in my kitchen, I'm going to place the blind corner on the left hand corner of my kitchen. So I have to select blind corner here. In your case, if it is happening on the right hand side corner of the kitchen, then you have to select blind corner accessory, which has that arrow. Okay, so let me just go with L. Just click it. And that selected cabinet will attach to your cursor. And as you move your cursor, the cabinet also will move along with it. Okay. So here, while talking about your cabinet placement, we have to precisely address your snapping natures. Yes, there are certain snapping advantages here which will guide you in your cabinet placement process. In that, the first snapping advantage here is this one. If you take any cabinet fresh from a catalog, it will automatically snap to a surface. Since I've selected a base cabinet, it will automatically attach to the floor. Okay, so unlike your conventional tool where the cabinet might float in mid-air or it doesn't associate itself with the surface, in this tool, all this will precisely happen. So even if you select any tall cabinet, it will automatically attach to the floor. If you select any wall cabinet or loft cabinet, it will automatically snap to the wall. So this is the first snapping advantage where the cabinet will snap to its respective surfaces. The second snapping advantage is the cabinet not only snaps to the floor. If you take your cursor and place it on the wall where the cabinet needs to be placed, the cabinet will now be attached to the floor and to the wall where the cursor is placed. Can you see here? As I move my cursor along that wall, the cabinet also will move along with it. This is the second snapping advantage where we don't have to manually place it, or while placing it up you might generally face an overlapping or a gap that might exist between the wall and the cabinet. All those unwanted issues will be avoided here because the snapping will make it precise. You know what? There is also a third advantage to the snapping. Let's just say that I want to place this cabinet on a perpendicular wall. In that case, I don't have to manually rotate it. Just take your cursor and place it on the wall. The cabinet will automatically rotate and align itself depending on which wall the cursor is placed in. So if I want the cabinet to be placed on this wall, just take your cursor and place it on that wall. The cabinet will automatically align. If I want to place it here, it will align. If I place it here, it will automatically align. Okay. So the manual rotation is also not necessary here. It will automatically be taken care by the third snapping advantage. You know what is the fourth snapping advantage? As you move your cabinet close to the wall, since it is the corner cabinet, it need to be precisely placed in the corner, right? So if I just take this cabinet, place it near the wall, can you see? Once it has detected a resistance by a perpendicular wall, the cabinet will automatically stop there. Even though I move my cursor towards the wall, the cabinet won't penetrate inside the wall. Okay, that is the fourth snapping advantage here. Okay, so once a resistance has been detected by a perpendicular wall or another cabinet, the cabinet will automatically stop there. It won't penetrate inside another cabinet, or it won't penetrate inside a wall. This is the fourth snapping advantage. So you can use all the snapping advantages and you can precisely place your first cabinet. Just click it and your cabinet will be placed. Okay, and once you placed your first cabinet, you first try to modify its dimension according to your design. For that, first you need to understand what parameter is. Okay, we'll be talking in detail about this parameter in a further section, but at this part we'll focus on the dimensional parameters and how that could be adjusted. So for this, I'm gonna take a double door cabinet fresh from the catalog. Just click it and place it in this form. And if you select this cabinet, on the right hand side, it will show you its respective parameters. See, for some designers, the term parameter might be a bit intimidating. Okay, you don't need to worry about it. Parameter is nothing but your properties. So as a designer, what are all the properties of a cabinet you are familiar with? It could be your length, it could be your depth, it could be your height of the cabinet, your leg height, your handle position, all those, right? These are all the parameters or so-called properties. That's it. Okay, so if you select any cabinet here on the right hand side, it will show you its respective parameters. And when it comes to parameters, there are two categories of parameters here. One is called your basic parameter, another one is called your advanced parameter. Okay, in this section we'll be talking about your basic parameter. In your next session we'll be talking in detail about your advanced or customization parameter. Okay, so here if you click on this basic parameter, this will open up your dimensions. That's it. Basic parameters are nothing but your dimensions. The width of this cabinet, the depth and the height of this cabinet. Okay. So in default, if you take any double door base cabinet, it will have a width of 900 mm, depth of 600 mm and the height of 720 mm. And all the dimension what you are seeing, all these are carcass dimensions, which means the width of this carcass is 900 mm. So anyways, the shutter width will eventually be the 900 mm. Okay. The depth of this carcass is 600 mm. In default, the shutter thickness here will be 18 mm. We can change it. That we'll talk about in our further sections. But in default, it will be 18 mm. So technically, the depth of this overall cabinet is 600 plus 18 mm. So 680. Okay. And the height of this cabinet here is 720, which is the height of the carcass, excluding your leg height. Okay. So 720. And in default, if you take any floor supported cabinet, the leg height will be 100 mm. So it's total of 720 plus 100, 820 mm from the floor. In addition to that, you have something called distance from the floor, which is nothing but this talks about the distance of this carcass from the floor. Okay? Right now I have an 100 mm leg. So the carcass is naturally placed at distance of 100 mm from the floor, right? That is what mentioned. And in addition to that, the last basic parameter here is rotation. So if you would like to rotate this cabinet on X, Y or Z axis, you can precisely type in the degree, it will automatically rotate. Okay. In general, the need for rotating a cabinet is extremely minimal because of the third snapping advantage, where the cabinet will automatically rotate depending on which wall you're placing it, right? So you don't need to manually rotate the cabinet, but if you want, you can do it using these parameters. So now let's just get back to the point. What if I want to change the dimension of this cabinet? Let's just start with the width. What if I want to change the width? In default, it is 900 mm. If you would like to make this double door cabinet into 1200, just click on this 900 mm, type it as 1200 and press enter. That's it. The width will automatically be adjusted. The same applies for your depth too. So if I want to change the depth right now, in default here is 600 mm. If I want to change it to 400 mm or something, just type in. The cabinet will automatically adapt to it. If you want to increase it to 1000, you can just type in. It will automatically be adjusted. Okay. If you want to control that, you can type in. So right now in default, it is 720 mm. If you want the carcass height to be 1000, it will automatically be adjusted. All you have to do is just type in the precise here in its parameter. And now you would have noticed one factor. While adjusting the width, any change what we make here, it is happening from the right hand side of this cabinet. Can you see? Any extension or any recession, it is happening on the right hand side of the cabinet. That is because if you notice right next to the width parameter, there is a small toggle, right? So right now the extend to right toggle is selected. So that is the reason why if we make any change here, it is happening on the right hand side of this cabinet. What if I want this change to happen on the left hand side? Let's just say that I want to make this as 1200 in width, but that needs to happen on the left hand side. In that case, simple, just click on this extend to left toggle and make any change. And now can you see this change is happening on the left hand side of the cabinet? Because for the width, you can either adjust it from the right or adjust it from the left, right? So you can precisely decide it based on this toggle. Same applies for your depth too. If you adjust any depth, you would notice that it is always happening from the front side. If you want to adjust the depth from the back side, you can click on this extend backward. But on 99% of scenarios, when it comes to depth adjustment, it will always happen from the front. So you can always have this toggle. Same scenario applies for your height too. On most cases, if you want to adjust the height of the cabinet, it should always happen from the top, right? That is because right now it is selected as extend upwards. But if you want to adjust height from the bottom, you can even click on extend downwards and you can precisely control. So this is what these direction toggles are. And this is the first method of changing the dimension of a cabinet, which is a precise method. There is also a second method of changing a dimension, which is using the toggle. So we would have already talked about this in your day 1 of the foundation course. The similar facts apply for your cabinets too. So if you select any cabinet, you will notice that it has 6 arrow toggles here, right? These are all called your dimension toggles or your scale toggles. Okay. So if you want to extend this cabinet on the right hand side manually using the toggle, click on this right hand side arrow. Just click and drag it. Can you see? It is extended. Same thing. If you want to do it from the left, just click it, extend it from the left. If you want to do it from the top, just click it, extend it from the top. Same for your other directions too. Okay. But remember, the second method is a non-precise method. It's an intuitive, but it's a non-precise method. Okay. You can't precisely adjust this depth of 1200 using this manual method. In those cases, I would always recommend you to go for this first method of adjusting the dimension using the parameter. And by this point, you would have naturally got this important question. So we are adjusting the width, depth and height of this cabinet, right? And you might be like, is this dimensional adjustment, is it similar to how the cabinets are scaled or stretched in other conventional modeling tools? Technically, it is not. Okay, I'll just give you an example. So in your conventional modeling tool, let's just say that you built a cabinet manually, which has a panel thickness of 18 mm. Okay, both your side, top, bottom, all the panel thicknesses are 18 mm and the cabinet width is 900 mm. Okay, and now you want to stretch this cabinet from 900 mm to 1200. So what you'll do, you use your scale option and you stretch it sideways, right? After it is stretched to 1200 mm, now if you just check with the thickness of the panel, you would notice that the thickness has increased from 18 mm to about 20, 22 or 25 mm depending on how extended it is stretched, right? So if the stretch is happening on the width basis, then your side panel thickness will increase. If the stretch happens on a depth basis, then your back and front panel thickness will vary. If this happens on the height basis, then your top and bottom panel will vary, right? That is how a conventional scaling or stretching would work. But in this tool, we are not changing it that way. We are parametrically controlling the dimensions, which means if I have this cabinet width as 900 mm, all the panel thicknesses of the carcass and shutter in default will be 18 mm. Even if I change it to 1200 mm, the panel thickness will still remain 18 mm only. So we are not technically scaling or stretching the cabinet. We are parametrically adjusting the width precisely to your requirement. So this is what your basic parameter using which you will be able to majorly control the dimensions of a cabinet. So I have a double door cabinet here and the dimension of this double door cabinet is changed or altered from the default dimension. Okay. So now let me just take the same cabinet fresh from the catalog. So just select the same double door cabinet and I'm taking it fresh from the catalog. Okay. And like I said, any double door base cabinet in default will have a dimension of 900 mm in width, 600 mm in depth and 720 mm in height, right? So now let me just take this cabinet close to my adjacent cabinet. You will notice once it has detected the adjacent cabinet, it is automatically snapping to that adjacent cabinet, right? This is the fifth advantage of your snapping. Yes, your cabinet can not only detect your floor, wall and your perpendicular wall. It can even detect your adjacent cabinet, and once it has detected it, it will automatically attach to your cabinets too. This is the fifth advantage of your snapping. Okay. So this advantage will literally save you from lot of inaccuracies which you generally place in your conventional modeling, right? In your conventional modeling, if you place any cabinet right next to each other, you will see that there might be a gap or there might be overlap which might be happening between those two cabinets. All these are common issues, right? The snapping will literally avoid all those issues because the tool itself will precisely attach right next to each other. There won't be not even a single of gap. Okay, so precision is the core for the snapping. So this is one snapping advantage. And in this process, you would have also note another interesting thing. Once it has snapped to the adjacent cabinet, it has automatically adjusted the depth and height based on the adjacent cabinet. Can you see here? If it is away, it will have the default depth of 600 and 720 height. But once it has snapped to the adjacent cabinet, it has automatically changed its depth and height based on the adjacent cabinet, right? This is the sixth advantage of your snapping. So this sixth advantage of your snapping will save you a lot of time, especially if you take any base cabinet or tall cabinet from our catalog, the default width is 500 mm, correct? What if you're designing a kitchen which has a depth of 550 mm and the height of your base cabinet are 750 mm? In those cases where you have to individually select each and every cabinet and adjust its parameter, right? You can do that, that is feasible, but that will take some time, right? Instead, right after you placed your first cabinet, try to adjust its depth, try to adjust its height. Importantly, once that is done, all you have to do is just take another fresh cabinet and try to snap it to the previous cabinet. Once it is snapped, it will also take the same dimension as your adjacent cabinet. Okay, so this is why I was telling you, right after you placed your first cabinet, try to adjust its width, depth and height according to your design so that you don't have to change it individually for each and every cabinet. While snapping on, the tool itself will automatically adjust based on your adjacent cabinet. So now let's try to apply this for our kitchen. Okay, so in this, right after I placed my first cabinet here, let me just select this cabinet. On the right hand side, it will show you its respective parameters, right? In that, let me adjust the depth and height of this cabinet according to my design. So according to my design, the depth of this cabinet is 600, which is fine, but the height of this cabinet is actually 750 mm. But in default for any base cabinet, it will be 720, right? Try to change it in your first cabinet itself. I made it as 750 mm. The model has been updated. And once it is done, all I have to do is just take a fresh cabinet according to my design and try to snap it to this cabinet. It will also automatically adjust its height to 750. Okay. Right next to this L corner cabinet, I'm planning to go for a normal pull-out cabinet. You know, your oil pull-out or your narrow pull-out. So in those cases, I can just select this pull-out cabinet subcategory. This will open up 4 types of pull-out cabinet which are there in our catalog. In that, I'm going for this narrow pull-out. So just click it, and if it is away, it will have the height of 720 mm. But once it is snapped to this cabinet, it will automatically adjust its height to 750 mm. Can you see? So once you snap a new cabinet to your adjacent cabinet, all you have to do is just change its width alone according to your design. That's it. The depth and height will automatically be changed. The width alone you have to manually change for each and every cabinet. So in this case here, the width of this pull-out needs to be 300 mm. So I'm just making it as 300. Once that is done, now I can focus on this next cabinet, which is my stove cabinet. Okay. So here can you see I have a specific subcategory here named Ob cabinet under base. I can select it, where I have different types of Ob cabinets. So in this, I'm planning to go for this Ob cabinet with 2 drawer and the flap top. This is one of the commonly used Ob cabinet. So I'm going with the same. So just click it and place your cursor snapping to the adjacent cabinet, and it will automatically adjust its dimension. All we need to do is control its width alone based on your design. So in my case here, this cabinet is of 900 mm. So I'm just adjusting its width. And the last cabinet here, I'm planning to go for a 3 drawer cabinet. So let me just go for this drawer cabinet. And here I have different types of drawer. In this, I'm planning to go for this 3 drawer cabinet of ratio 1:1:2. Just click it and just try to snap it to it will automatically snap to the previous cabinet. In addition to that, you would have also noticed another important thing. So if I place this cabinet away from it, can you see its default dimension is 500 mm, right? But if I just take this cabinet and place it in the cavity, can you see the width is also automatically adjusted based on the available clearance, right? That is the seventh and the final advantage of your snapping. Yes, your tool can detect the clearance distance which is present between a cabinet and a wall or between two cabinets. And once you place your cabinet within that cavity, it will automatically adjust the width based on the available clearance. This will also save you a lot of time, and this will provide a greater accuracy when it comes to modeling. So once it has detected, just click it. Can you see your cabinet is placed? And now right now the width of this cabinet, the available clearance there was 714, and the width of the cabinet is automatically adjusted to 740. But I'm planning to go for 650 mm. So I can just click it, change it as 650, so that I have a clearance of 64 mm here. This 64 mm clearance is where I'm going to place the base filler. So remember, base filler is also there as a part of our catalog. So please try to use and place your fillers precisely to your design. Okay. So all those fillers, in panels, ledge panels, all those things you can find it under auxiliaries category. So just click on this auxiliaries. There you have a specific subcategory named filler. Click it, and there you have different types of filler. Since it is a base filler, I can just click on this base filler, and here I'll find my base filler. Just click it. Just place your cursor there. That's it. The tool will automatically recognize that cavity and it will place it. As simple as that. So this is how you can place your base cabinets here. Now I can follow the same process and I can try to place the cabinet on this side of the cabinet. And now, and the last cabinet which I'm planning to place here is your tall appliance cabinet, which also going to act as my end cabinet. So for that, you can just click on this tall cabinet category. There I can click on this appliance cabinet, and this will open up different types of tall appliance cabinets. Okay. In this, I'm looking for an appliance tall cabinet which has door on top, oven at the center, and two drawer at the bottom. So I can just scroll down, I can just go for it, and you will be able to precisely find this cabinet. Can you see here? It has door on top, oven at the center, and two drawer at the bottom. You can check it using the thumbnail, or you can even look at the name too. It will precisely tell the nature of this cabinet. So once you selected it, just place your cursor there, and you click it. Right now, let me place this cabinet at a distance from my adjacent cabinet. So now, let's just consider this scenario. Okay, where you placed a cabinet, but after that cabinet is being placed, you want to move this cabinet. In that case, you could follow the same process which was addressed in your day one of the foundation course. So if you want to move something manually, just click it, drag, and you should be able to move it, right? We would have already talked in detail about this in your day one of the foundation course. The same applies for your cabinets too. Okay, you can just drag it and manually move it. The second method of moving a component here is using the toggle. Right now, we are having this dimension toggle. But if you press R in your keyboard, it will change the toggle. Remember, the shortcut is R. So if you press R, it will change the toggle. And now what you are seeing here, this is the movement toggle. It will have 3 axes here. So now this toggle won't change its dimension. Instead, you will be able to use this to move it on the precise axis. Either you can move it on this X axis, Y, or Z. If you again press R in your keyboard, this will change the toggle, and right now it is the rotation toggle. Using this, you won't be able to change the dimension, or you won't be able to even move the cabinet. Instead, you will be able to rotate the cabinet on any of the 3 axes. So in this case here, I could press R in my keyboard, and I can change this to movement toggle, and I could even manually move it and place it right next to my cabinets. Or the third option here, which is the precise method of placing too, which is using the clearance distance. Okay, so if you want to move a component precisely, select that component. The tool will show its respective clearance. In this case, it will show the distance of this cabinet from the right wall, from the left wall, from the top, from the adjacent cabinet, everything it will precisely show. So if you want to move, you can even edit this respective clearance and you can get it done. So in my case here, the distance between this cabinet and my adjacent cabinet is 755.8. If I want this to be right next to it, click on this clearance and make it as 0. Press enter, that's it. Your cabinet will precisely move to the point. So once you did that, now can you see? Your base cabinet is precisely placed in your project. So now let's just focus on your wall cabinet. So like I said, I'm planning to place my wall cabinet only on this wall. So for that, I can just click on this wall cabinet category, and here I have different types of wall cabinet, right? So in this also, it is always recommended to start from your corners. Okay. So in my case here, I'm planning to start from this left hand corner, and this will eventually move to the right hand corner. So the first cabinet which I'm planning to place here is a normal double door GTPT. So I can just go for this door cabinet. This will open different types of door. In that, I can precisely select a double door GTPT, glass tray and plate there. Just click it, and you could notice, right, since it is a wall cabinet, it will automatically snap to the wall. Okay, and as you move your cursor on the wall, the cabinet will also move along with it. Okay, so in this, once it has detected the corner, it won't move any further. Okay, and once that is done, just click it, your cabinet will precisely be placed. But to make it precise, I'm actually planning to place a wall filler. Generally, it's a common practice, right? So only in that scenario, I'm not going to place precisely at the corner. Just maintain a gap there and click it. The cabinet will be placed. And once you select that cabinet, it will show what is the available clearance from the wall. Right now it is 203.7 mm. I'm looking for a 50 mm filler. So I need to have a 50 mm gap. So click on that clearance, make it as 50 and press enter. That's it. It will precisely have a 50 mm clearance there. Okay. And once that is done, the same logic applies here too. You can just select this cabinet. You can check with its dimension, width, depth and height. If you want to change it, you change it right after you placed your first cabinet. So that when you're placing your other wall cabinets, you can directly snap it to, it will also take the same dimension as your wall cabinets. So you can do it. So in this case, the depth here is 350 mm, which aligns with my design. And the height of the wall cabinet is also 600 mm, which precisely aligns with my depth. So I'm not going to change the depth and height of this wall cabinet here. But if you notice, this cabinet is placed at a distance of 1460 mm from the floor, right? That is the clearance of this cabinet from the floor. But actually in my design, the wall cabinets are placed at a distance of 1490 mm, not 1460. In that case, you please adjust this right after you placed your first wall cabinet, so that your other cabinet will also automatically be aligned to the same height. Instead of doing this manually for each and every wall cabinet, do it in your first cabinet itself. So in this case here, I can just click it and make it as 1490 and press enter. The cabinet will be aligned precise. And once that is done, all I need to do was just take the next cabinet and snap it to, as simple as that. So the next cabinet which I'm planning to place here is a normal single door shelf cabinet. So I can just click it, just place it here. Can you see here? It has automatically adjusted to the same clearance as my previous cabinet, and it has also automatically adjusted to the depth and height of my previous cabinet. Just click it, and once it is placed, just try to adjust the dimension along. So in this case, this is going to be 500 mm. So I'm just adjusting it. And right next to the single door cabinet, I'll be having my chimney, right? So I'm looking for a double door chimney cabinet to cover up the chimney. For that, I can just go for appliance cabinet under my wall, where I'll have the double door chimney cabinet. Okay. Remember, this is just the cabinet to cover up the chimney. Your chimney can be generated separately. So I can just click it, place it, snapping to it, and it will follow the seventh advantage of the snapping, where it has detected the available clearance between this cabinet and the wall, and it has automatically adjusted the width. But don't worry, just click it and you can later modify this width according to your requirement. In my case, it is 900 mm, so I'm just changing it. And right next to it, I'm planning to go for a single door cabinet too. Just click it, snap it, place it, and then I can adjust the clearance. So in this case, right now, can you see the available clearance there was 684. So when the cabinet is placed in, it has automatically adjusted the width to the available clearance. Okay. Right now, I need to create a gap here of 15 mm for the wall filler. Okay. So in that case, I need to reduce the width of this cabinet, correct? So if I want to do it, one conventional method, what you'll be doing is, you'll be taking your calculator, you'll be typing in 684 minus 50 and you'll type in the value, right? You can do the same thing. Instead, you can do that calculation here itself. So if you want to minus 50 mm here, in this width, just type it as minus 50. Press enter. The tool itself will do the calculation. You don't need any calculator here. Okay. This not only applies for the minus. If you want to add an mm, just type it as plus and type in the value. If you want to divide it, just type divide symbol and you type in the value. Same applies for your multiplication too. So all those things can directly be typed in your dimensions itself. The tool itself will calculate it. So once this is done, I have 50 mm clearance on this part and I have 50 mm clearance on this side. So I could go for the auxiliaries, click on fillers, and this time click on wall filler subcategory where I have my wall filler. Just click it and snap it to the available gap. That's it. I can do the same process for this gap too. As simple as that. So now your wall cabinets are precisely placed. The last set of cabinet is your loft cabinet here. So for that, I can click on this loft cabinet and I'll find two types of loft cabinets here. Your frame and shutter and box loft. In this demonstration, let me just go for the box loft itself. So I can directly click on this loft cabinet and here click on the box loft and here have different types of box loft. So in this case, I'm planning to visually match my loft same as my wall cabinet. So for that, I'm just going to click on this double door cabinet. And now you will notice one important thing. Okay. Your loft cabinet, can you see? It is not snapping precisely on top of your wall cabinet. It is snapping actually in line with the wall cabinet. It is not placing on top of the wall cabinet, right? It won't be. Okay. If you take any loft cabinet, it won't be placed precisely on top of the wall cabinet. Instead, it will be aligned at the same level. In that case, place that cabinet anywhere on the same wall. Okay, anywhere. Just on the same alignment, just place it. Once it is placed, select that cabinet. It will open up a floating window, right? In this floating window on the right hand side, you will see an arrow mark. Just place your cursor on that arrow mark. It will open up a drop down. In this drop down, you will see there is one important tool here named Orient. Shortcut is P. Just click it. And now you just take your cursor and place it on a cabinet. Can you see? If you place it on any cabinet, you will see arrow marks, right? So what this arrow mark will do is, if I click on the top arrow mark now, the selected loft cabinet will precisely be placed on top of this cabinet. If I select the bottom arrow mark, that cabinet will be placed under this wall cabinet. If I place it on the right, if I place it on the left, depending on which arrow I'm clicking, the cabinet will be placed precisely in that position. This is what orient option is. It will help you to orient a cabinet precisely on sides of another cabinet. So in this case, I can just click on the stop arrow. Can you see, just in seconds that selected loft cabinet is placed on top, right? So this is what your orient option is. Remember, this is one of the commonly used tool when it comes to cabinet placements. Okay, so especially when it comes to loft placement or anything that is related to your loft, your orient option plays a very crucial role. And remember, this orient option also should be done only for the first cabinet. Okay, for the other cabinets, since you have the snapping nature, you can just click it and snap it to your previous cabinet. That's it. You don't have to do this for each and every loft cabinet. Just for the first cabinet, you do that. For your other cabinets, where the snapping advantage will automatically take care of it. So in this case, I can just click it. And now I have to adjust this with matching with my wall cabinet. In default, that visual matching of verticals and horizontals won't happen. You have to manually change it for each and every cabinet here. So in this case, I can use this toggle. Right now I'm placing R in my keyboard and I'm changing this to scale toggle or dimension toggle, and I can manually click it and change it. And while doing this toggle also, though it is a manual toggle, it will notice that it will snap. Can you see here? So once it has detected a endpoint in the adjacent cabinet, can you see? It is automatically snapping to the point. Same applies. If I want, I can extend it manually. But once it has detected an endpoint there, it will snap. It will automatically snap. Same thing. So here, even though this toggle works manually, it will precisely snap based on your adjacent cabinets. You can use that to your advantage. So that way, I adjusted the width of this cabinet manually, matching with my wall cabinet. So now I can go for this double door cabinet, place it, and then I can manually adjust the width. I can do the same process for the last cabinet too. So now once you placed your loft cabinet, now what is remaining is your loft filler, right? So for that I can just go for auxiliaries, click on filler, and there you will find your loft fillers. And when it comes to loft filler, you have both vertical and horizontal fillers. Okay, in this we'll be using both. So in this case, can you see there is already a wall filler. On top of this, if I want, I can place a loft filler here. Okay, but some designers, instead of just doing this 2 times, they might want the wall filler to be extended till the loft. So they just want one common filler for the wall and loft together. So if you want, you can even do that. Just select this filler and increase its height here manually. Or you can even use this toggle and increase it, right? It will snap to the point. You can do the same process for this one too. Just click it and adjust its height. So now your vertical fillers are also placed. Now we can focus on your horizontal fillers. So for that, just click on the loft horizontal filler and place it. You will face the similar scenario what you've been facing with your loft. Okay, it won't be placed precisely on top of the loft. No worries. Follow the same process. Just place it on the same wall. Once that is placed, use your orient option. Shortcut is P. And now you can place your cursor on top of any component and click on its respective arrow marks. That's it. Your loft filler is placed. And now you can select this loft filler and manually adjust its width. See, all this width adjustment I'm doing using the toggle. But if you're comfortable adjusting it using the parameter, that is also welcome. So now can you see the width of the single filler is actually 3044 because that is the available width of this wall. Okay. By this point, you would have got this question. The width of this filler panel might be 3041. But technically when it comes to panel, the maximum you will get in the market is 2400, right? In this case, if you want to keep up with that practicality, you can manually change it. So I can use this manual stretching and I can stretch it. Like I said, it will snap. Once it has detected an endpoint, it will automatically snap and stop there. Okay. And once that is done, I could even do the same process and click it and snap another new filler right next to it. Or you could even select this filler and press Ctrl C. Ctrl C is the shortcut for duplicate. Okay. Or just select the component. It will open up a floating window, right? At the center of the floating window, can you see? You have the copy option. Ctrl C. Okay. So you can even literally copy and try to snap it right next to it. So this happens not only for your filler. This copy applies for any component in this tool. Okay. It could be your public library model. It could be your cabinets. It could be your wardrobe storage, anything. This copy eventually applies. Shortcut is Ctrl C. So now once it is done, I can adjust the width. So now can you see the filler right here is 75 mm. But the available clearance there is actually 110. So I can increase the height to the available clearance. Okay. So for that, right now if I select this filler, I can change the dimension for this filler, right? What if I want to change this dimension commonly for both the horizontal fillers? No worries. Hold shift in your keyboard where you can multi-select it. And now it will show you the common parameters of those two fillers. Okay. So that way, now if I adjust the width, can you see both the fillers will experience that same change. So now instead of 75 mm, just make it as 110. Press enter. Both the selected filler will experience that change. So here even multi-select, and for that you have to hold shift in your keyboard just like your conventional modeling tool. So now your loft cabinet for this is placed in. I can do the same process for this tall cabinet too. There need to be a loft cabinet placed on top of this tall cabinet. So I can follow the same process. So now your cabinet for your kitchen is precisely placed. And this completes the section 3 of your day 2 foundation course.